Have you ever thought about why some folks hustle their whole lives but never hit it big, while others seem to have money working for them? Most people grow up being told to hit the books, put in the hours, and earn that paycheck. They end up spending their lives swapping time for cash, only to use that cash to buy stuff that might make them feel good, but doesn't actually set them free. I used to be in that same boat. Every time payday rolled around, I felt like I scored a victory. But then it hit me. Cash is fleeting. Freedom lasts forever, and you can't purchase freedom with just a paycheck. You can only create it through assets. The wealthy get this. Income keeps you afloat, but assets give you wings. They don't just chase money, they work on planting seeds. Every dollar they make, they let a piece of it grow into a money tree. Something that keeps on giving even while they're catching some Z's. They understand that if you don't teach your money to work for you, you'll always be stuck working for money. Today, I'm excited to share with you 12 key principles that the wealthy live by. These ideas don't stem from chance. They arise from attitude, commitment, and a solid financial mindset. They can totally transform your perspective on cash, employment, and liberty. You'll want to stick around until the end of this video because the 9th principle, the law of retaining money, could change the way you accumulate wealth forever. The first principle is simple. Don't just earn money, invest it. Back in my younger days, I believed that the goal of working was to rake in as much cash as I could. I toiled day and night, harder than anyone else I knew, but even as my earnings grew, I felt like I was stuck on a never-ending hamster wheel. I was making more, but I was also spending more. That's when it hit me. I was working just to get by, not to achieve true freedom. One day, a mentor of mine said, "Your job income will sustain you, but your assets will liberate you." That statement completely shifted my perspective on money. I came to understand that the issue wasn't how much I earned, but rather how I managed the money I had. Most folks spend their entire lives chasing after money. The wealthy spend their lives figuring out how to make their money work for them. That's the main distinction. It's the difference between just getting by and truly enjoying freedom. Picture yourself as a farmer. Every month you get a sack of seeds. That's your paycheck. You've got two options. You can eat them all since they're enough to get you through today, or you can save some to plant for a bigger harvest next season. The wealthy think like farmers. They consume just enough to survive, but they always set aside the rest for planting. They know that if they use up all their seeds this season, there won't be anything to gather next season. I once met a guy who was quite wealthy. He drove fancy cars, wore high-end clothes, and lived in a posh apartment. But when I asked him if he could take a year off work and still get by, he fell silent because the answer was no. He had a high income but lacked real assets. The wealthy don't focus on how much they earn. They focus on what they create. Someone making $100 a month but putting $200 into assets can become principle number 1. Don't just earn, invest free sooner than someone making $1,000 and spending it all. Because it's discipline, not the figures, that brings freedom. Don't hold off on investing until you're earning more. If you can't save 10% when you're making $100, you won't be able to when you're making $1,000 either. Investing isn't just for wealthy folks. It's how people build wealth, and investing isn't confined to stocks or real estate. It could be a book you pick up to expand your mindset, a course to sharpen your skills, or a venture you're brave enough to start. Anything that helps you create and grow value is a solid investment. Ask yourself, am I working for money or am I teaching money to work for me? If your answer is, I'm still working for money, then it's time to shift your mindset. Because if you don't make money your servant, it will turn you into its worker for life. And here's the reality. Money never takes a break. It can operate 24 hours a day all over the globe, but only if you put it to good use. Let every dollar you make have a purpose. a purpose to expand, to help, to liberate you from the constraints of time. Keep this in mind. Income sustains you, but assets work for you. Don't just hustle for cash. Figure out how to make your money work for you. And to achieve that, you need to develop one key habit, a habit that wealthy individuals never overlook, regardless of where they are in life. It's the habit of sowing seeds every single day. The second principle is to cultivate the habit of planting seeds on a daily basis. I used to tell my students that it's not the amount of money you possess that defines your wealth, but the habits you practice consistently. Because wealth isn't a one-time event, it's a journey. And that journey begins with a small action, a choice that might seem trivial, a seed you plant today. You see, both the wealthy and the less fortunate have seeds. The distinction lies in how they handle them. The less fortunate consume their seeds to get by today. The wealthy plant their seeds to enjoy freedom tomorrow. I recall when I was younger and first began earning some cash, I couldn't wait to blow it all. A bit to treat myself, and a bit because I figured that once I started making more, I'd begin saving. But that moment never arrived. The issue isn't how much you've got, it's the habits you form. You can't say, "I'll hold off until I'm disciplined enough to hit the gym." You gain discipline by actually starting to work out. Money operates in a similar fashion. You don't wait until you have a ton to begin learning about investing. You dive in first, even if it's just a little bit. I once told a student to kick things off with $5 a week. The amount doesn't really matter. What's crucial is that you're training yourself. He chuckled and claimed that $5 wouldn't make any difference. 3 years down the line, I bumped into him again. He still hadn't taken action and repeated the same excuse. "I'm not ready yet." I just smiled. It's not about being ready, it's about building that habit. Get this straight. Wealth is a skill, and skills are developed through practice. The wealthy don't just dive in with huge investments. Initially, they invest steadily. They understand that every little action, every seed sown, is a building block in the structure of freedom. Just like a farmer, Zig Ziglar doesn't only think about this year's yield. He plants, he waters, and he waits. Not because he enjoys the labor, but because he realizes that rewards come to those who are patient. And here's a tough pill to swallow. Nobody gets rich from a single major choice, but rather from countless small decisions they make over and over again. Successful folks aren't superior to you. They're just more reliable. One day, then 1 week, then 1 year longer. Begin cultivating your habit of planting seeds today. Each time you receive your paycheck, set aside 10% right off the bat before you spend anything. If 10% feels too steep, start with 5% or even 2%. Don't view it as money gone. Think of it as seeds sent to your future, because you can't expect a harvest if you never plant. And you won't achieve freedom if every dollar you earn lacks a purpose. One thing Zig Ziglar has learned from his own journey is that discipline isn't about limitation. It's the pathway between dreams and success. The practice of sowing seeds is the ultimate expression of self-discipline. You sow today to reap tomorrow. Each time you remain steadfast, you're showing yourself that you're worthy of freedom. So I want you to think about this. What type of seeds am I sowing daily for my future or for my procrastination? If you sow the seeds of discipline, you'll reap freedom. If you sow the seeds of spending, you'll reap anxiety. Life doesn't play favorites, it simply returns the kind of seeds you've sown. But just sowing seeds isn't sufficient. The wealthy don't merely plant. They also understand how to safeguard their fields. They don't place all their seeds in one spot. They know how to distribute them wisely. And that's the key to the next principle. Principle number 3, diversify with discipline. I once came across a well-known saying in the investment world: never put all your eggs in one basket. That sounds smart, but after years of watching, I stumbled upon something intriguing. Those who miss the mark on principle number 2, cultivate the habit of frequently planting seeds, often get it all wrong. They believe that diversification means throwing their cash into everything. They spread their funds all over the place. A bit in stocks, a bit in cryptocurrency, a bit in a buddy's startup. In the end, they don't really grasp any of it, and none of it yields any returns. On the flip side, wealthy individuals don't just diversify, they do it with intention. They don't toss seeds around haphazardly. They thoughtfully select each piece of land and stick around long enough to nurture, water, and eventually harvest it. I recall when I first dipped my toes into investing, a friend advised me, Zig Ziglar, throw your money into as many spots as you can. The more, the better. I took that advice to heart. The outcome? I didn't just lose cash, I lost my focus. I was too busy running after every basket of eggs and had no time to safeguard any of them. Then another mentor shared with me, Zig Ziglar, diversification isn't about splitting your knowledge. It's about safeguarding your knowledge with discipline. That's when I realized it's not about spreading yourself too thin. It's all about finding balance. Wealthy folks typically split their money into 3 categories. First, there's the safe part, the solid base, which includes long-term investments like index funds, real estate, or bonds. This is where your money grows slowly but surely, like roots digging deep into the earth. Then there's the growth part. This is where you chase profit opportunities in riskier areas like startups, new tech, or emerging markets. These are the branches that stretch towards the sky. Not every branch will bear fruit, but when a few do, you'll enjoy a bountiful harvest. Lastly, we have the self-investment part, which covers intangible assets like learning new skills, developing a positive mindset, and taking care of your health. This is the kind of investment that pays off infinitely, because no one can take away your knowledge or tax it. You see, diversification isn't just a financial tactic, it's a way of life. You can't put all your eggs in one basket. Plant various types of trees, some for shade, some for fruit, and some for durable wood. Because when the storm hits, not every tree will survive, but the forest will. I've witnessed countless folks go broke, not because they made poor investments, but because they put all their faith in just one income stream. Lose that job, lose that paycheck, and everything falls apart. The wealthy have a different approach. When one door shuts, they've still got 5 more wide open. But watch out. Without self-control, spreading your investments can become a distraction. If you pour money into 10 different places but can't keep an eye on even one, you're not really investing, you're just taking chances. The wealthy don't just split their cash, they also split their focus. They are crystal clear on where every dollar is going, what it's doing, and why it matters. Diversification is all about finding that sweet spot, not so concentrated that risks can wipe you out, but not so scattered that your strength gets watered down. Invest broadly enough to stay secure and deeply enough to make a real impact. Take a moment and think, if one of my income streams vanished tomorrow, would I still have something bringing in cash? If the response is negative, you're in a cozy kind of trouble, the sort that seems secure right now but creates lasting uncertainty. Once you figure out how to nurture and safeguard the seeds you've sown, the following move is to get your field to yield results for you. Because wealthy individuals don't just grasp the art of investing, they understand how to make their money work tirelessly, even while they catch some Z's. Principle number 4, let your money do the heavy lifting. A lot of folks put in an immense amount of effort. They rise with the sun, burn the midnight oil, give up their free time, and pour in energy hour after hour. But there's a tough reality that not many are willing to confront. Regardless of how many hours you clock in, you still have just 24 hours in a day. You can't keep going indefinitely. your body will wear out. Time will constrain you, and youth is fleeting. If you depend only on hard work, your life will always be tied to the clock. When you stop hustling, your income halts. The wealthy get that. They realize that even when I'm snoozing, my assets are still at work. That's not sorcery, it's a mindset. The affluent don't just chase after money. They set up systems so that their money does the heavy lifting for them. I once met a guy who was grinding like crazy. He juggled 2 jobs and barely had any time off. He told me, "Zig Ziglar, I put in 16 hours a day. I'm sure I'll be rolling in it soon." I looked at him and replied, "Nah, you're just getting really good at being worn out. The more you hustle without a solid plan, the more drained you feel." Wealthy folks still put in the effort, but they do it with leverage. They turn money into their most dedicated worker. Money doesn't need to sleep, take breaks, or find motivation. It can hustle around the clock anywhere on the planet. Picture this. Every dollar you invest smartly is like a hidden worker. A worker toiling day and night to generate returns. And when you have hundreds or even thousands of these hidden workers, you stop working just to get by. You begin working to add value, not because you're under financial stress. Back in the day, I thought financial freedom was just a far-off fantasy. But once I grasped the concept of passive income, everything shifted. I began setting aside a portion of my earnings into assets that brought in cash flow, like stocks that pay dividends, rental properties, and small ventures that could run without my daily involvement. At the beginning, those cash flows were pretty small, but they kept coming in even when I was hanging out with my family, reading or catching some Z's. Then, little by little, I stumbled upon the wonder of compound interest. Every dollar I made helped generate more dollars. Each new source of income supported another, like seeds growing endlessly in a huge field. That's when I transitioned from just working for money to actually managing cash flow. If you want to get started, focus on creating your first stream of passive income. Don't wait until you have a ton of cash, because wealthy folks don't kick things off with big amounts. They begin with consistency. Start by setting up an automatic investment account, an index fund, or purchasing a small income-generating asset. It could be a $50 dividend or a room to rent out. The specific amount isn't what counts. What matters is the principle. My money needs to work for me, not just sit around doing nothing. Once that initial stream starts to flow, it's time to multiply it. Transform 1 into 2, 2 into 5, and 5 into 10. The more income sources you have, the closer you get to true freedom. Ask yourself, if I couldn't work tomorrow, how many income streams would still be supporting me? If the answer is 0, then it's time to start building your financial team. Let your money act as your quiet army, working tirelessly, because while you can take a break, freedom should never take a nap. But there's another insight. The wealthy grasp this better than anyone else. They don't just earn money, they create value that generates income. They understand that wealth flows to those who help more people and do it better. And that brings us to the next principle. Principle number 5. Provide value, not just hours. I used to believe that the only way to increase my earnings was to put in more hours. I worked overtime, took on additional responsibilities, and stayed up later than everyone else. But no matter how hard I pushed, I always hit a wall because my time is finite. Then a mentor shared something with me that completely transformed my life. Zig Ziglar, money doesn't chase after the person who works the hardest. It follows the individual who brings the most value. That's when it hit me. Society doesn't compensate you for your time. It rewards you based on the value you generate during that time. If you're earning $10 an hour, it's not because your hour is worth $10, but rather because the value you provide to others in that hour is just $10. If you want to boost your earnings, you don't have to grind away for 20 hours a day. You need to enhance your value. I used to be just an average salesperson. I believed my role was to sell in order to make commissions. But one day I shifted my perspective. My job isn't about selling, it's about assisting people in making the purchases they genuinely need. And guess what? My income doubled and then tripled. Not because I put in more hours, but because I focused on serving better. That's the mindset of the wealthy. Money doesn't follow sheer effort, it follows how useful you are. The more individuals you assist and the more effectively you do it, the more valuable you become, and money will naturally come your way. Take a look at the most accomplished folks around the globe. They aren't compensated for putting in more hours, but rather for tackling larger challenges. Zig Ziglar isn't rewarded for working 18 hours daily. He earns his pay because he provides solutions for millions. Zig Ziglar doesn't trade time. He develops systems that allow value to expand endlessly. In today's landscape, filled with technology, artificial intelligence, and the creator economy, the real winners aren't those who simply put in more hours, but those who utilize their intellect and systems to extend their value to a wider audience. You can begin on a small scale. If you're working for someone else, consider, how can I assist the company in saving money, enhancing efficiency, or serving customers more effectively? If you're running your own business, think about how you can help more people while keeping costs down. If you're a creator, reflect on what issues you're addressing for your audience through your content. Every single dollar you earn comes from someone who believes that what you offer is worth more than what they pay for it. I once had a conversation with a rich guy. I asked him, "What's your secret to making it big?" He grinned and replied, "I stopped wondering how I could earn more cash and began to think about how I could help more folks." That response is crucial. When you change your mindset from chasing money to serving others, money starts to come your way. It's no longer a pursuit, but rather a magnetism. It's not about pressure anymore, it's just the natural outcome of providing value. This world isn't short on cash. It's short on people who genuinely create value. And once you become one of those people, money will come to you quicker than you expect. Ask yourself, what value am I bringing to the table today? Am I enriching others or just myself? If you shift your thinking from hours to value, you won't be confined by the clock anymore. You'll enter a whole new realm where your earnings are based not on time, but on the impact you make. And once you've figured out how to create value, the next step is to safeguard that value. Plenty of folks manage to make a decent amount of cash, but before they know it, they've lost it all. It's not that they made poor investments, it's just that they didn't keep an eye on their finances. That brings us to the next key point. Principle number 6. Keep track of your cash flow. Be aware of where your money is going. I once mentioned to a student, if you don't direct your money, it'll vanish on its own. That's one of the priciest lessons I've ever picked up. It's not that people struggle because they don't earn enough. The majority face challenges because they're clueless about their spending habits. You see, most individuals don't go broke due to principle number 4, making money work for you with one major choice. They get overwhelmed by countless little decisions. A daily coffee, a few dinners out each week. Those seem like just a couple of bucks here and there, plus subscriptions they hardly ever use. All those tiny expenses, little by little, stealthily chip away at their cash flow without any warning. I once had a chat with a young guy who was doing pretty well financially. He said, "Zig Ziglar, I can't figure out why I'm always short on cash by the end of the month." I just smiled. "All right, let's dive in." We pulled up his spending report, and for an hour he just sat there quiet. Not because he didn't get it, but because he was taken aback. He came to the realization that he wasn't struggling financially due to low earnings, but rather due to a lack of awareness. A lot of folks' issue isn't that they don't earn enough, it's that they can't hold on to what they do earn. You see, boosting your income without boosting your self-discipline just leads to spending more and faster. The wealthy have a straightforward habit that many overlook. They keep track of every single dollar, not out of being cheap, but because they value money. They know that if you don't measure it, you can't manage it. Every few months, they sit down, go over the spending report, and assess each item. What's making money? What's just a waste? What needs to go? And every time they do this, their cash flow gets stronger, clearer, and more liberated. I tried this exercise for the first time when I was younger. When I added everything up, I found out I had spent hundreds of dollars on stuff that didn't add any value. I referred to them as money leaks. I began sealing each gap one at a time. Every little bit I saved, regardless of how minor, I funneled into investments. After just 1 year, my cash flow shifted from being a drain to coming my way. Keep in mind, you can't create wealth with cash you don't manage. Before you dive into investing for growth, ensure you've got a handle on your current cash flow. A task I often give my students is the month-long spending review. Jot down everything you spend, every single thing, no matter how tiny. By the end of the month, you'll get the full picture and it might catch you off guard. I remember someone telling me, Zig Ziglar, I feel uneasy about writing down every expense. I said, if you're uncomfortable with how you spend, that's a clear sign you're not managing it right. Financial freedom doesn't kick off with the digits in your bank account. It begins with realizing you're in control. When you have a clear picture of where every single dollar goes, you gain the ability to choose its next move, whether it works for you or slips away. Picture this. What if each month you trimmed down 10% of unnecessary expenses and funneled that into income-generating assets? In just 1 year, that could lay the groundwork, and in a decade, it might lead to true freedom. Because the control you have today is the foundation for the wealth of tomorrow. I want you to reflect on this. Am I the one in charge of my money, or is my money calling the shots? If you're still figuring it out, start tonight. Take a moment to sit down, jot down your thoughts, review, and make some changes. You don't need everything to be perfect. Just make a solid decision from this point forward. I will direct my money where I want it to go. And once you've mastered the art of managing every dollar you earn, it's time to elevate your mindset. The wealthy don't just focus on the present, they think about the future generations. They don't merely earn money, they create a legacy. And that brings us to the next principle. Principle number 7, think legacy, create enduring wealth. I once mentioned, the clever make money to survive, while the wise make money to achieve freedom. But the truly great individuals earn money to create a legacy. Many folks only consider wealth in the context of their own lives. However, the genuinely affluent think beyond their own existence. They don't merely ponder how comfortable their own lives will be. They contemplate how their children, grandchildren, and future generations will thrive because of what they establish today. I recall when I was younger, I encountered an older gentleman named Zig Ziglar. He was retired but appeared completely at ease regarding finances. When I inquired about his secret, he grinned and said, "I didn't work solely for my own benefit, my friend. I worked so that those I care about wouldn't have to begin from scratch." Those words really made me pause. I understood that real wealth isn't measured by how much you consume in your lifetime, but by the principles and chances you pass on. The wealthy grasp that everything they create is a seed for the future generation. A house today can serve as a refuge for their descendants tomorrow. A business today can lay the groundwork for an entire family legacy. A little charity fund today can change the lives of folks you might never encounter. And even more crucial, the best legacy isn't about cash, it's about mindset. Money can vanish, but the right attitude can help you rebuild everything. I've come across dads who left their kids a ton of wealth, but since they never shared the mindset behind it, the next generation blew it all in just a few years. On the flip side, I've witnessed parents who had nothing to give but wisdom. and those lessons turned their kids into millionaires. I like to call that a spiritual legacy fund, a treasure trove of principles, values, and beliefs that are worth way more than gold. That's what you should hand down along with your financial resources. When you start thinking beyond your own years, you begin to invest with principle number 5. Serve value, not hours, for a greater purpose. You'll opt for sustainability instead of quick profits. You'll focus on long-term impact rather than fleeting enjoyment. I once had a chat with a wealthy buddy, and I asked him, "What do you plan to do with your riches when you're no longer around?" He grinned and replied, "I'm not just leaving behind cash. I'm leaving behind chances, schools, scholarships, and a business that my family can keep growing." That's what sets apart spending money from creating a legacy. Just think about it. If every generation started off at a higher point than the one before, in just a few generations, an entire family could completely change its future. But that only happens when someone in the family chooses to think beyond their own needs. That someone could be you. Don't just hand down what you've made to your kids. Share with them the reasons behind why you made it. Transform your family's narrative by planting seeds that last. Think about an investment fund, a sustainable business, or a community foundation. Because in the end, all the stuff you buy will eventually fade away. But what you create will last. Ask yourself, if I were to leave today, what part of me would still be here tomorrow? That question isn't just for the older folks. It's for all of us. Because leaving a legacy isn't something you do at the end of your journey. It's a seed you plant each and every day. Once you grasp the significance of creating a legacy, you'll come to another realization. The wealthy don't just think about the long haul. They recognize that short-term cash flow is what gives you true freedom. If your assets aren't bringing in consistent income, you aren't genuinely free. And that brings us to the next point. Point number 8, focus on cash flow. Freedom starts with that flow. One of the biggest missteps I notice in folks who seem wealthy is that they get caught up in their assets on paper and overlook the real cash flow in their lives. They might have houses, cars, and investments, yet they still hustle every month just to cover their bills. They may appear rich, but they aren't really living rich. The genuinely affluent get that while assets can give you a fancy image, it's actually cash flow that sets you free. I once met a guy who had millions in assets on paper. He had several properties, stocks in companies, and even some high-end cars. Every month, Zig Ziglar found himself in a tough spot, trying to cover his utility bills and pay his employees. I asked him, "Why do you still feel the financial strain when you have so many assets?" He flashed a wry smile and said, "Jim, I've got plenty of stuff, but none of it brings in any cash." On the flip side, I knew another guy who had way less wealth on paper, yet he owned 3 rental units, a stock portfolio that paid dividends, and a small business that was running smoothly. Each month, he enjoyed a steady cash flow without needing to clock in at a job. He told me, "I'm not a millionaire, Jim, but I'm free." That's when it hit me. Freedom isn't about the amount of money you have. It's about the cash flow. Cash flow is what keeps financial freedom alive. When it dries up, you're back to the grind. But when it's flowing nicely, you can concentrate on what really matters: family, health, growth, or just living life on your own terms. Keep in mind, the aim isn't to accumulate more assets, but to have assets that actually pay you. Don't put your money into something that looks good on paper, but doesn't give you any real returns. A home is only a real asset if it brings in positive cash flow. A business truly holds value only if it can make a profit without you having to be there every single day. A stock is worth keeping only if it pays out dividends or shows real growth. Think about it. How many things do I own that actually put money in my pocket each month? If the answer is 0, then you haven't achieved freedom yet. You've just bought the illusion of it. Wealthy people start with a different mindset. Instead of asking, what can I purchase, they ask, will this give me a return? I like to call that the cash flow first, image later principle. Don't go after luxury right away. Lay down the groundwork first, then build your dream home. When I got my first property, it wasn't anything fancy. It was an old apartment way out from the city center, overlooked by everyone. But every month it brought in rent. That experience was completely different from just spending money. It was the first time I felt like my money was working for me. From that little trickle, I put my money back in, picked up more assets that bring in cash, and with each one, my freedom climbed a bit higher. It wasn't just about making more money, it was about having control over that cash flow. If you're after freedom, kick things off by setting up at least one source of passive income this year. It might be a room you rent out, a portfolio that pays dividends, a digital product you sell online, or even a channel on the growth compass that offers real value to others. Don't ever overlook that small cash flow, because every massive river starts with just one drop. Once you've got your first stream, safeguard it, grow it, and turn it into a system. One day you'll wake up and notice that money is still coming in, even when you're not putting in the hours. That's when you've truly hit freedom. But there's one more thing that not many people catch on to. You can create a ton of income streams, but if you don't know how to hold on to what you make, it'll all slip away. And that's something the wealthy grasp better than anyone else. The trick isn't just about earning money, it's about keeping it. Let's dive into the next principle. Principle number 9. Hold on to what you earn. The art of tax management, principle number 6, is all about controlling your cash flow. I once had a chat with a wealthy buddy of mine, and I asked him, "What's the biggest secret to getting rich?" He grinned and replied, "Zig Ziglar, it's not about how much you bring in, it's about how much you keep after you've earned it." At that moment, I didn't quite get what he was saying until I noticed two guys making the same amount of money. One kept getting richer year after year, while the other was still struggling. The only thing that set them apart was how they handled their taxes. The first guy viewed taxes as a burden, while the second saw them as a game with rules. And the one who knows the rules comes out on top. You see, a lot of folks work their tails off their whole lives, but never figure out how to hold on to what they make. They let the government, inflation, and their own lack of knowledge chip away at their money little by little. Meanwhile, the wealthy learn the rules so that those rules work in their favor. I'm not talking about dodging taxes, never. I'm talking about getting a grip on tax laws to take advantage of what's perfectly legal. Tax regulations are designed to promote behaviors that create value. If you know how to navigate them properly, not only will you retain more of your earnings, but you'll also accumulate wealth at a quicker pace. When I first ventured into the business world, I stumbled too. Every time I turned a profit, I found myself paying taxes just like any regular worker. I thought that was the norm until I met a financial consultant who posed a thought-provoking question. Zig Ziglar, would you rather be the largest taxpayer or the smartest at holding on to your earnings? That one stuck with me for quite a while. Then he showed me how to establish a financial framework. Utilize your own business to validate necessary expenses. Put your money into real estate while benefiting from tax breaks. Contribute to retirement plans or accounts with tax advantages. I've come to understand that wealthy individuals don't grumble about taxes. They manage them effectively. They recognize that every dollar saved on taxes is another dollar that can be funneled into gaining freedom. And that's something many people miss. They see taxes as something beyond their influence. They just don't get it, never improve, and because of that, they end up putting in more effort to recover what they've lost. On the flip side, the wealthy do things differently. They make their money work in a smarter way, turning the rules into a friend rather than a foe. A buddy of mine who's an entrepreneur once mentioned, "I always think twice before spending a dime. considering how it might help me lower my taxes. That's the shift in perspective. Average folks ask themselves, what can I buy? While the wealthy ponder, how can I set this up so my money keeps growing? Start with some straightforward actions. If you're working for someone else, consider opening a retirement or investment account that offers tax benefits. If you run your own business, team up with a financial expert to make sure your investment-related expenses are above board. If you're looking to dive into real estate, find out how to leverage asset depreciation to lessen your tax burden. Each little move can help you retain an extra 5%, 10%, or even 20% of your earnings. And guess what? When you hold on to more, you can reinvest more. That's how the wealthy speed up their journey to financial freedom. Take a moment to reflect. Am I hustling for cash, or am I letting the rules work in my favor? If you don't grasp the rules, you'll always be playing catch-up. But once you figure out how to play the game right, you won't just make more money, you'll also keep more of it. And keep in mind, building wealth isn't about grinding harder, it's about managing smarter. Let knowledge be your tool for creating wealth. Because being clueless is the priciest tax of all. Once you've mastered the art of holding on to what you earn, it's time to dive into a deeper concept. The wealthy don't rely on debt, they thrive on ownership. They realize that every dollar of debt is a chain, while every asset is a step towards freedom. Now let's move on to principle number 10. Principle number 10, prioritize ownership over debt. I once shared with a group of young folks that if you don't own anything, you'll always be working for someone else. The world today is brimming with chances, but it's also packed with pitfalls. And one of the most tempting pitfalls is debt. It gives you that sensation of having it all right now, only to have it snatched away with a price later on. I used to find myself in a financial bind, not because I was struggling, but because I didn't grasp the principles of money. I thought I was making progress, but in truth, I was just paying for my lack of patience. A mentor once shared with me, Zig Ziglar, if you purchase things you don't really need with cash, you don't possess just to show off to folks you don't even know, you're trading away your future. Those words hit me hard. I came to see that many individuals spend their whole lives working to pay off items they only enjoyed for a handful of days. A shiny new car, the latest smartphone, a fancy apartment. They offer a fleeting sense of wealth but leave behind a heavy load. Wealthy people really get this distinction. They know the difference between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is what drains your wallet every month. Think consumption, credit, and emotional spending. Good debt, on the other hand, is what fills your pockets, like investments, income-generating assets, and cash-flowing businesses. They're not hesitant to take out loans, but they only do it to acquire assets, not liabilities. If a debt doesn't help them generate value, they steer clear of it like it's on fire. I once encountered a guy who was really proud of his flawless credit score. He told me, "Zig Ziglar, the bank is ready to lend to me anytime." I chuckled and replied, "That means the bank has faith in you. But the real question is, are you using that faith to gain freedom or to create chains?" Debt isn't inherently bad, but using it without a clear understanding can be incredibly risky, because it can make you feel comfortable while you're actually limiting your options. When you're in debt, you can't relax. You can't say no. And sometimes you can't even live by your own values. You end up working for your own obligations. The wealthy think differently. They don't borrow to spend. They borrow to boost their ownership. They realize that owning things brings freedom, while debt leads to dependence. Every investment they make has one purpose: to grow what they possess. I can still picture the first time I purchased a tiny piece of property. It wasn't some fancy mansion, just a simple lot in the suburbs. But when I had that deed in my hands, I experienced a sense of peace that no loan could ever provide. I owned a slice of this world, and no one could take it away from me unless I let them. Ownership is more than just having a piece of property, right? It's a statement of freedom. When you own a business, skills, knowledge, or income-generating assets, you can live on your own terms instead of being pushed around by financial stress. Think about it. Am I working to own things or just grinding away to pay off debts? If the majority of your earnings are going towards bills, you're not really making progress. You're stuck on the debt treadmill. But when you start using money to regain your freedom, you're heading in the right direction. Take baby steps. Clear off that credit card debt, cut down on borrowed expenses, and save up to invest in real assets. Things that generate income rather than lose worth. Each time you own a little bit more, you take back a bit more control over your life. Freedom doesn't start when you've got a ton of cash. It kicks off when you don't owe anyone a dime. But even after you've cleared your debts, that alone isn't enough to truly be wealthy. The wealthy don't just possess things, they know how to multiply what they have. They understand how to turn value into even more value. And that brings us to the next key idea. Idea number 11. Multiply your assets. Let's talk about the magic of compound interest. Zig Ziglar once mentioned, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who get it benefit from it, while those who don't end up paying for it. And he was spot on. If you're curious about why the rich keep getting richer, just observe how they let their money grow without lifting a finger. I once had a young, super eager student. He told me, "Zig Ziglar, I want to get rich quickly. I'm ready to grind for 16 hours a day." I chuckled. Hard work is great, but if you only depend on your own sweat, you'll only progress little by little. If you grasp the concept of compound interest, your money will run the marathon for you. Compound interest isn't some kind of sorcery. It's the payoff for being patient. You see, compound interest only shows its true strength when you stick around long enough. Picture this. You plant a tree. In the first year, it's just a tiny sprout, looking pretty much the same. But each year, it grows a bit more. And by the 10th year, it starts to produce fruit. Those fruits, in turn, have more seeds to plant. That's how compound interest works in nature. It's not flashy, but it's relentless. Wealthy folks don't rush to get rich quick. They create systems that increase value over time. Every source of income they establish gets reinvested. Every profit they make gets put back to work. And over the years, those seeds turn into a financial forest. I once came across an everyday woman with a typical income, but she began putting away $200 a month at the age of 25 into a straightforward index fund that earned 10% annually. By the time she hit 55, her assets had surpassed $400,000, not because she made a ton of money, but because she remained consistent longer than most. On the flip side, I've met plenty of folks who rake in hundreds of thousands each year but blow it all or invest their emotions and end up with nothing saved up. You see, compound interest benefits those who take action, not just those who sit around dreaming. It's not solely about cash. It's the foundation of all achievement. Knowledge, skills, connections, health, they all operate under the same principle. A little bit of progress each day can multiply 100 times over the years. You might read a book today, and it might not seem life-changing. But if you make it a habit to read every single day for 10 years, your mindset will shift dramatically. That's the compound interest of wisdom. So the trick isn't to rush, but to begin early and keep going. Wealthy people don't aim to get rich overnight. They focus on building wealth sustainably. I want you to reflect on this. What am I investing in daily? Money, knowledge, or discipline? Am I planting the seeds so that compound interest can kick in? If your answer is not yet, then start today, even if it's just a little bit. Since compound interest doesn't really care about how much you kick things off with, What matters is when you decide to start. Don't evaluate your outcomes based on tomorrow. Look at them over the next 10 years. Freedom doesn't just show up overnight. It's built over countless nights of dedication. And once you figure out how to multiply your assets, principle number 8, focus on cash flow. Freedom starts with flow. You'll uncover an even more profound truth. The wealthy don't just put their money to work, they invest in connections. In the financial world, you can't get very far on your own. Now, let's talk about principle number 12. Principle number 12, build relationships, the unseen asset of the wealthy. I once mentioned in a talk that if you have a brilliant idea, but nobody believes in you, that idea will slip away. However, if you cultivate strong relationships, you can transform an average idea into something remarkable. That's the insight the wealthy grasp. More than anyone else, money can purchase a lot, but only relationships can open up opportunities. I once crossed paths with a young entrepreneur named Zig Ziglar. He was skilled, diligent, and bright. However, after several years, his progress was still stagnant. He told me, "Zig Ziglar, I've picked up every trick in investing, management, and finance, but why am I stuck?" I replied, "Zig Ziglar, how many folks are ready to say good things about you when you're not around?" He went quiet because that's the kind of question no one covers in school. Yet it plays a huge role in real-world success. Wealthy individuals understand that triumph doesn't come from being a lone wolf, but from the connections they cultivate. Each person they encounter can serve as a bridge, an opportunity, a nugget of wisdom, or a gateway to the next stage. They're not just looking for what they can gain. They're focused on creating value. They offer help and share before expecting anything in return because they grasp that timeless principle. The person who brings the most value to others in the room is the one who shines the brightest. I once witnessed a guy stumble at startups 3 times consecutively, but the 4th time he bounced back powerfully, not because he had a groundbreaking idea, but because he assembled a stellar team. He mentioned Zig Ziglar. I came to understand that the concept is merely 20%, while 80% revolves around the people involved. That's the reason why wealthy individuals invest significantly in those around them. They are selective with their friendships. They look for mentors to gain insights from, and they always find ways to add value to their connections. If you aim to achieve wealth, don't merely ponder what you know. Think about who you know and what you're recognized for, because relationships aren't just for leaning on, they're meant for mutual growth. In this day and age, your worth isn't solely based on your abilities, but also on your reputation, something that money can't purchase. Only time, actions, and genuine intent can cultivate that. The affluent don't chase after opportunities, they draw them in. And they accomplish this by becoming the type of person that others want to collaborate with. They don't just discuss finances, they share visions. They don't merely demand, they give back. They don't just exchange handshakes, they honor their commitments. I want you to reflect on this. Every connection you make is a valuable resource that can bring endless benefits if you know how to take care of it. A buddy might present you with a fresh opportunity. A guide can steer you clear of a big blunder. A perfectly timed introduction can completely transform your career. Wealthy individuals understand that their network is their real wealth. Cash can vanish, properties can fail. But if you cultivate solid relationships, you can bounce back quicker than ever. Think about it. Who are the 5 folks I hang out with the most? Are they pushing me forward or holding me back? Because you're likely to become the average of those 5 closest to you. If you're looking to enhance your life, begin by uplifting those around you. Don't just accumulate assets. Build trust, credibility, and friendships. In the end, cash is merely a tool, while people are the real treasures. My friend, we've explored 12 financial principles of the wealthy, and if you pay attention, you'll notice that none of these principles focus solely on money. They all emphasize mindset. The wealthy don't just hustle to get by. They work to gain freedom. They don't spend to show off. They invest to add value. They don't just chase figures. They stick to principles. And you know what? Real wealth doesn't kick off with a number in your bank account. It begins with a choice in your head. The choice that from this day forward, you will take charge of your money instead of letting it control you. Every principle you pick up today, whether it's investing instead of merely earning to create a legacy, focusing on cash flow, or investing in people, is like laying a brick in the structure of your financial independence. And every time you take a step, no matter how tiny, you're placing another solid brick in your future. I once mentioned that discipline is the pathway between dreams and success. Now you've got the roadmap, but that pathway is one you have to walk yourself. Nobody can invest for you, nobody can save for you, and nobody can create a legacy for you. Start now. One small step, one habit, one smart choice. Because wealth isn't about luck. It stems from taking consistent action every single day. If you're looking to keep moving forward on your personal growth path with Zig Ziglar, make sure to subscribe to the Growth Compass, because the upcoming video will not only dive deeper into your principle number 9, hold on to what you earn, the skill of optimizing your finances for taxes, but it will also elevate your mindset and spirit. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of the 12 principles resonated with you the most? Today, I'm eager to learn your story. And to wrap things up, I want to share a message that I always hold dear. You and I both possess a gift. It's today. Make the most of it. I'll catch you in the next one.